Yeah, what's up? Just walked in the house, turned on ESPN, and saw that James Harden had dropped 61 points on the Knicks tonight, and that tied him with Kobe Bryant for the most points scored by an opposing player in Madison Square Garden. Um, James Harden is on a tear, y'all. I mean, he's just ripping it up. Um, he's just ripping it up. I think it's time for people to really, really consider him as one of the all-time great offensive weapons in the history of the NBA. And that's a sentiment that was echoed by his general manager, Daryl Morey, early at the start of the year. Um, the numbers are there. He's averaging 35.7 points per game right now. This was his 21st consecutive 30-point game. And he's just doing things that we haven't seen done since the days of MJ, and certainly since the days of Kobe Bryant. Well, so I think one of the biases against this guy is that he's not an all-around player as those other guys were. But we just have to get over that because what he's doing is sensational for a couple of reasons. He's highly skilled. He's got every trick in the book. Footwork, the handles, shooting, three-point shooting. He gets to the hole at will, gets fouled at will, and knocks down his free throws. And he's proven himself to be pretty decent in the clutch as well. But the other thing is, I think people hold against him that he doesn't have that same athleticism and that same explosiveness that Kobe and MJ had. He's not just skying over dudes, dunking on dudes, just trying to end somebody's life at the rim. And he's not going to wow you with great physical talent. But to me, that's one of the things that makes him very special. Um, he has a high basketball IQ, great intelligence. The footwork is there, the savvy, technique, guile, cunning. Those are the things that make James Harden great. So I think people just need to sit back and relax and watch greatness unfold, um, because it's rare. I think what he's doing is quite spectacular, even if he's not jumping from the free throw line, dunking on folks, and wowing people with his physical gifts, because he really doesn't have that. But 61 points is nothing to sneeze at Madison Square Garden, the so-called mecca of basketball, and I do mean so-called. Somebody can correct me on that and explain to me why. But that tells me that for him to understand that he needs to bring his A game and have a signature statement game at MSG. It shows you that he understands the moment. He understands what's necessary at a given time when he's in a given situation at a given arena. Um, he was trying to make a point. He was trying to make a statement. All the greats have performed well at Madison Square Garden, and James Harden can now add his name to that list. Whether it's MJ with that like double nickel game when he came back from retirement, or Kobe's 61 points 10 years ago, and then LeBron James dropping 52 and 11 rebounds a couple of light nights after Kobe Bryant did his thing. The all-time greats understand that. There are certain venues and certain arenas where you must perform. And he said it before the game, James Harden did. He said before the game that he had not had an MSG moment. And he certainly made up for that tonight. He more than made up for that tonight. So I think we need to just sit back and whatever things we have against James, stop holding it against him. He'll never be a defensive stopper. We can forget that. That's fine. But what he's doing offensively is something for the ages. And I, as an NBA fan, I'm going to sit back and appreciate everything he's doing. And the thing that it's so funny to me because I remember when he left OKC to sign with Houston back in 2012. One of those egghead pundits from ESPN, um, he doesn't even work there anymore. This particular guy made a statement that Harden was not a quote unquote A-list player. So I mean, look, I've never scouted basketball players before in my life, but I know a good one from a bad one. And I know an A-list player when I see one. And I knew that even though he was the sixth man of the year and so on and so forth, I knew that James Harden was an A-list player. And he's more than proven that. He won an MVP last year. And I would say that he should have won two other MVPs. Okay? Steph Curry's first MVP, the first of his back-to-back MVPs, that first one should have gone to James Harden. Okay? I totally believe that. I'm totally convinced of that. And then the year before last, when Russell Westbrook won MVP on the merits of breaking the all-time triple-double record, hey, I really think and believe that James Harden should have won the MVP that year. So realistically, if you counting those two episodes where he should have won, and then last year where he did win, and this year where he's on the fast track to win it back to back, possibly, this guy could have four MVPs, realistically. And the only other guy playing right now that has that many is LeBron James. So yeah, I'm saying James Harden should have as many MVPs as LeBron James. That is, if he wins it this year. So, I feel like I'm probably in the minority in my opinions, but so what? I think the evidence is there and more than supports what I'm saying. So, let me end the video with this one last hot take. We talked about Harden tying Kobe Bryant for 61 points, the most by an opposing player in the history of the Madison Square Garden, aka the so-called Mecca of basketball. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this: don't be surprised if sometime later this year or in the future that James Harden mess around and drop a 70 or 81 point game himself. He's got it in him. I mean, this guy is in his bag. He's on the roll. He's in his prime. There's not a whole lot that he can't do on the basketball court offensively. So, yeah, I think an 80 point game is very in his grasp, very much in his grasp as a ball player at this point in time. You know, so don't be surprised if that happens. But you heard it here first, and if it happens, I'll be the first one to make a video, and I will be patting myself on the back. All right, that's all I got for now. Y'all be cool.